Here's a question for you. Let's take a moment to imagine a hypothetical business owner, a founder, who is just an absolute gun cybersecurity expert. However, they're also incredibly passionate about animal cruelty causes. But instead of setting up a shelter, they decide to set up a cybersecurity firm, because that's where their skills are, but then redirect most of the profits generated towards animal cruelty causes. Now the question is this a purpose-driven business? This was a scenario that I presented to all the people I interviewed as part of my purpose-driven deep dive. And the reason I asked it was because I was just really intrigued by this notion of, do all businesses deserve to be purpose-driven? Are there businesses that have worthy or unworthy purposes? And the results? It was pretty much a 50-50 split. The people who thought that this was a purpose-driven business thought that it was a really good demonstration of a smart business model that leveraged the expertise of the business owner, the founders, and the company in one particular area in order to generate good somewhere else. There are a few others thought that this was a better overall strategy for creating impact than if the business owner were to have set up their own shelter, especially if they didn't have particular skills in that area. On this, I was reminded of the concept of volunteer tourism. This is the practice where tourists, often from wealthier countries, would go to a developing country, say often somewhere in Africa, and they'd spend 2 or 3 weeks helping to build a school or contributing to a local program, which is all nice in thought, but in reality, there's a lot of issues with this where often the charities have to spend more time and effort to have staff train and guide and look after the volunteers and helping them feel like they've made a bit of an impact. Whereas in actual fact, if the tourists had actually just straight up donated the money of the trip to the charity, they would have been able to create far more impact. Now, the people who disagreed and didn't think that this cybersecurity firm was a purpose-driven business did so because they felt that the area of purpose, that being to prevent animal cruelty, was just a bit too far removed from the provision of cybersecurity itself. That the desire to provide high-quality services to a client, whether that would be sufficiently motivated by the desire to prevent animal cruelty. And that if not, then this is more like a corporate social responsibility area rather than it being purpose-driven. Now, to be clear, these respondents didn't think that this was a bad business by any stretch. They just questioned whether or not this was a purpose-driven business. Irrespective of where people stand, I really felt that this was a really interesting hypothetical to put forth because it really starts to ask us to question whether all businesses and all industries could be purpose-driven. Could mining industries be purpose-driven? Could high-tech industries be purpose-driven? Because if not, then are we saying that some industries don't deserve to be worthy of being purpose-driven? Is there such a thing as worthy or unworthy purpose? And then if we take an even bigger step back, does it really matter? Does it matter that we have to have a very clean definition of, yes, this is a purpose-driven business, no, this is not a purpose-driven business, if on the whole, the rising tide of businesses wanting to do more good means that there is greater social environmental impact for the entire world? These are some of the topics that I go into in a little bit more detail in my research, so I do recommend you go check it out over at www.scottco.com. And so, over to you. What do you think? Do you think this animal cruelty cybersecurity firm is a purpose-driven business? If so, why? If not, why not? As always, comments below, you know the drill.